Hey, welcome back to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. This particular board position I find really interesting. I have been playing around with this thing now for a few days, meaning evenings, and we're all going to run into this kind of a position sooner or later. And the question is, what do you do? when you look at this, it is a mess. I mean, wow, it almost looks like every square has a piece on it, doesn't it? So how do we prevent ourselves from just having our eyes glaze over and not know what to do? I mean, this can make you feel like, holy cow, I have no idea what to do. We all run into that. I have a friend who says, you know, when this kind of a situation comes in, I will move my knight back and forth a few times, or my king or whatever, until he gets something going so that I can see what to do next. No, that's losing chess, man. Don't do that. In the Grandmaster games and the Master games, every move they're making has a reason, right? I mean, they play deliberately every move, and that's what we want to. That's what we aspire to be able to do, right? So, Jeremy Silman has taught the principle of imbalances on the chessboard, which in turn help us get a little bit better at least seeing whether you're on defense or offense or what. If you don't know you're not on defense or offense, basically you lost. Let's take a look at some of the imbalances here and see what we can see. An imbalance, of course, is just a difference in the board, essentially. Well, what's the first thing we notice? It does appear that white has more space. Now, space is created by pawn moves. And when we look at this, the queen side has more space. The center has more space. The king side has more space. And it actually looks like he's got more space this way as well as this way. Doesn't it look like that to you? And notice this. You get to black, and he's just crammed into a really little tight square, like a can of sardines. That's a difference. And it's irreverent. It is irreverent. It is irrelevant whether you're playing white or black. I mean, if you're playing black, you want to know what the implications of that kind of difference is. Same with white. Being crammed like this makes it so that you don't have the capability of moving your pieces around as easily or as usefully. Some of your pieces are going to be denied being on the right square when you're so cramped. Well, that's an important difference to know, right? If you're playing black, you're going to want to know, holy cow, what would strategy of black be? Somehow, some way, get more space. Now see, if you didn't recognize that you are cramped and that white is wide open, you wouldn't play the right strategy. More space, more space. That makes sense, right? Chess is difficult, unless you're a grandmaster. And then chess is difficult, even if you are a grandmaster. But there's no reason to make it more difficult. By understanding just a few basic principles, we can simplify things. What else do we see? Well, there's nothing that has been taken. So material is even. That's why the board, is so full of pieces. Another thing we notice, look at these central pawns of black and look at these central pawns of white. Yeah, I mean, they are right close to it. They are interlocked. Boom. that center is closed. Well, that tells us nothing's going to go up and down through the center. Really, not for quite a few more moves, truly. So that's not a place where you can play. Well, that leaves the queen side and king side. I mean, you know, this is basic simple. Let's look on the queen side. What do we see? We can see, and we'll assume we're white and it's our move for the principle of illustrating some ideas here, so that you don't have to feel so lost when you get in this situation. We can see that we can actually push a pawn and do a breakthrough on the queen side. Nice. There is something, and that is a constructive move as well. Notice what else. By pressing this pawn, no, we're not on an open file yet, but the pawn has the backup of the rook, and you know I'm pushing the pawn to break through, so you know that's going to be an open file. Nice. You also see that your knight is hitting this square that you are moving to. Nice. You also see that your bishop is holding that square. So that move would make very good sense if you were white. A queen side, it's going to be a wicked battle. Sincerely it is, simply because we'll notice something. Now see, don't just look at your bonuses and think, oh, well, that's obviously the move. I have it covered 1, 2, 3 times. Yes, you do. You have it very well covered. What about your opponent? Well, I can beat him because 1, he's got it covered with his knight. And yes, the pawn is there. And yes, the bishop is behind the pawn that you're attacking. But black can also make this a much tougher battle by bringing in his rook. And then see, now you've got a battle for the file. And you know, 3 and 3, right? That is going to be, if you choose to go on the queen side, that's going to be a tough battle. What you need to recognize is you really do have a great move here. You have an option. Before you get hasty and throw that pawn up there, though, hang on. Take a look here. It's closed. So there is nothing attacking you. And quite frankly, there's nothing we can attack with the pieces. The pieces, I mean, right? So you have the time to build up a much stronger attack. What would be wrong? Let's say, okay, we've chosen. This is going to be our move. What would be wrong with putting the rook up here, dropping this rook down here, bringing this rook over to here, then up to here, and then dropping the queen down and put together an Alacant gun? And you say, oh, for Pete's sake, dude, by the time you do that, the sun will set. That could be true. The moral of that is, don't start your stupid chess games late at night. No, look. 4 moves. Okay, yeah, it takes 4 moves. What's he going to do for the next 4 moves, though, you guys? Seriously. Look, he's not going to make very much progress. Now, on the other hand, I may be, you know, wrong, because once you start bringing stuff over here, he's going to recognize, a queen side. I mean, he's not going to be sitting there half asleep, especially if you're in a chess tournament. So recognize that your opponent could also start hammering you quickly to kind of disrupt your queen side, right? And like I said, he's got the option here. I mean, he can, you gotta be wise, but I think you have time to build up a stronger attack. And that would not be time wasted. So that's What I'm trying to show you is, don't let your eyes gloss over ever. There are always options, truly. And don't just make willy-nilly moves. No. What about the king side? Again, locked, locked, locked. Those aren't moving anywhere. Ah, but these two are not locked. And you got a rook here. Doesn't it make sense? Say yes, please. Doesn't it make sense that that's the pawn you'll push? Sure. Break through the king side. One thing you notice, this king is up against a wall of granite here. Not a lot of place to run. So you know it's going to be a fight. You're not going to chase the king way over into here. There is no way he's getting that far, right? However, again, like the queen side, what would be wrong, since it's so compact, what would be wrong with building up your attack first? This type of a board, we read it as we have time. There is not a rush to get to a certain spot. We can really build up. Nimzovich loved Aaron Nimzovich. Man, if you haven't studied Aaron Nimzovich, do yourself a favor and study Aaron Nimzovich. I promise, it's good stuff. He's older, but him and what's his nose, you know, the other chess player. Nimzovich, Richard Reddy. Both those two were the instigators of the hyper-modern new chess back in the early 1900s, right? About 100 years ago. And we've been developing ever since, of course. So, doesn't it make sense to move your rook there? Absolutely. Double your power on what you know is going to become an open file, because that's the pawn you're going to push to open up the file. I'm telling you, that is a splendiferous option. Okay? Look at this. On the king side, not only... Now you can do this and you'll have more power. Sure, you're ready for attack. But watch. What if... Recognize this knight here, if we can get him to h4 and then bump him up to here, 1, 2, what a great outpost. I mean, you'd kill for that outpost, wouldn't you? That is just dominant. So see, we do have options. You don't have to let your eyes glaze over. You say, okay, we've doubled our rook. What if you used to try something like this? What if you went ahead and pushed the h-pawn first? And then you have that, and then you have that. Not bad. Just recognize your opponent, the minute you put this rook over here, he's going to know, okay, it's a king side, so he's going to be moving also. I'm just trying to give you some basic strategic ideas. You push that pawn and put the knight here. If black would wait until your next move after the pawn push is to put the knight there, man, if I was black, what is the you know he's going to come here eventually, but what is the strategy for fighting against open files? You remember that? Clog it up. Put all kinds of crap down there. Put the knight in that future open file, because you know he's going to push this pawn. Otherwise, why did he double the rooks, right? And you know he started with the h-pawn for the obvious reason of, I mean, your opponent's going to read your plan. Don't expect him not to see it. Expect him to see it and then make the strongest moves you know how. That would be the best way to play. So you know if you double up the rook and you push your h-pawn, you know your opponent is watching you prepare to go here and then go here. And he's not, you wouldn't let him just do that, right? You would be fighting over on this side. You see him building up over here, you see him put that and do that, push the pawn and move that. You're not going to be going like this. You're really not. You realize, oh my gosh, I've got to guard my king. So this is the idea. My point in this video, because this setup so well illustrates it in such a remarkable way. My point in this entire video is that there are times, and it doesn't matter what board position we're in. It could be an end game, a middle game, the beginning of the game. I know there are times when our minds shut off. We begin to look up at the ceiling and say, oh my gosh, what am I doing here in this stupid position? I have no idea what to do. By analyzing options, by knowing the imbalances, you begin to see that's not so bad. That's not so bad, really. If a yo-yo backyard professor chess player can see that, then so can you, right? So here's the fun challenge I've got for you. Why don't you take this position, based on what I showed you in this video, take this position, imagine you're white, and play without a chess computer analyzer. Why don't you play through and try to beat black with a kingside attack using the hints I've given you? I've been doing this now for the last couple of days, and I have been going through numerous variations. Ideally, white would be the more comfortable side. But then switch sides and go ahead and imagine you are the black pieces and go ahead and refute white's kingside and find the strongest moves you possibly can. This is sensational chessercising for your mind. I found both ways. And I confess, I mean, gadzooks, I've got 15 hours into this board position this week, and I have found both a win for white and a win for black. It's really interesting to do this. Now, if you want to go ahead and cheat yourself out of a very, very good learning experience, yeah, do the lazy boy stuff. Turn on your computer and let it do all the work, and you won't learn one gosh damn thing. You won't be any better for it. And that's your choice. I'm not going to argue against that. I'm just saying if you want a really nifty chess exercise, this thing holds all kinds of potential great learning for you. And then when you're done with the king side, make an attempt at the queen side. Why not? And then put it in the comments below. Show me some of your variations. I'll see if they match what I've got. And I don't have a whole, I've got like, oh, I probably got 6 or 7 different variations. But it's really interesting doing that because as you start working through another variation, you recognize, oh, well, that move was weak. Or on the other hand, oh my gosh, I had a stronger move than I put down, so I'm going to do that and then begin your variation from there. That is a hoot to do. I was up till like 11 o'clock last night doing variations. I tried to upload one of my variations, and while I was videoing the game, I saw the refutation to my variation. I said, whoops, oops, I blew it. So anyway, that's my challenge for you. Let's make this a game. Why not? It's kind of fun. No material has been lost, so it's even, except for the other imbalances. So there's my Backyard Professor chess video for the day. Remember, above all else, don't you ever forget it. You are awesome. You are good chess players. Be nice to one another. Be good. Be happy. Hey, we're alive. We get to play chess, man. There's a lot of poor people in the world who don't even know how to play this game. So be grateful for your blessings. Be happy, be wise, be good, do well, work hard, make lots of money, share lots of money. Did I miss anything? Oh, and have a good time doing your variations and showing them to me. And in the meantime, remember, you will have another Backyard Professor Chess video coming up.